Hello, my name is Frances Fox, and I am a trained remote viewer. Um, I guess I need to say hello. I'm also trained in interspecies communication. All my psychic abilities are trained. I have a degree from the University of Miami in political science. I started a business and ran it for 30 years and then turned it over to someone else, sold it to someone else, and it's doing even better. I am able to create projects, businesses, relationships that are long-standing with tremendous rooting, which is very important today because everything is getting so shaken up. I love this little goat. So we have a lot of things that we can do now. We have entirely too many things. Let's see if I put up the map already. Probably didn't. Let's see. Is this yesterday's or today's? No. Let's go ahead and get something out of here and let's get the map from today. I'm a little bit shaken today. I'm very happy. And I told the Mantrista movement, the people that follow me, that we are looking for white magic. We were looking to understand magic and in the process to learn and to teach white magic. So let's go over the map today. This is what it is that I sketched. It looks great. You've basically got three different color lotuses, a pink, an orange, no, two, pink and orange. The pink would be heart chakra, the orange would be the sexual sacral chakra. That's great. And then you have two Merkabas, which is the galactic protection. And then we have the pyramids in the Gulf of Mexico coming up, and those pyramids are protections. They stabilize. Well, in Canada, we have a big black hole. Canada is a big black hole. I don't know what it is that's going on. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to expand what it is that I'm looking at um, because I'm already covering what's important. Why am I just covering mainly the United States? Well, I live here, and I'm battling to be free from a mind control program from this country. But in the process, I have found that the United States is basically the leader at this point in terms of a planetary process, which has to do with what the heck is that? Uh, Yogurt. Great. Um, we are in a frequency shift. The planet is changing its frequency. And the people in the country that is most important for that turns out to be the United States, which is good because we have Trump who has that level of spirituality, but also that level of strength. Because you cannot just be great and spiritual, da, da, da. You have to be rooted and grounded and strong. And he has that. So to see this on the map in the country that appears is taking the lead and is absolutely taking the lead, having to do with stabilizing the planet for this frequency shift, for it to be the United States and to look like this is very good news for the entire planet, not just for those of us that live here. So coincidentally, today I decided to put this piece of jewelry that I purchased probably 5 years ago, and I never wore it because it's silver, and I had never cleaned the silver. I couldn't find the stuff to clean the silver. There was always an excuse, and I brought it today. I found the silver cleaner, and I cleaned it. This is a spider, obviously, and this is a spider web. Spider webs are something that is used in the other dimensions for black magic. And coincidentally, today I did the weekly event where I clear people's heart plus their livers. I used to charge for it, but it's too important to limit it to people who can pay. So I do it for free once a week on Mondays. And the liver was completely wrapped in a spider web. And it was not easy to get it to unwrap. So everything is synchronized. We just don't recognize the synchronicity. But once you start recognizing it, you understand that the universe is really, really, really working with for you. By the way, I'm a nervous wreck. Okay. I am absolutely, without question, a nervous wreck. So just take that into consideration. I'm here, but I'm a nervous wreck. Um, Comments on stuff that's happening. And I always have to worry, is somebody going to take me to court one day on all this stuff? Nancy Pelosi is not just victimized by Adam Schiff. When can you get that man gone? You know how many people are going to be better off? The images that I got this weekend of Nancy Pelosi was of Schiff standing there with a leash in his hand. And the leash, and Nancy Pelosi was on the floor on all fours as if she was a dog, and that leash was around her neck. I think I have said it here that I have several people that I have seen, particularly two people who are very into all the magic and they use it all the time. They use me for when they want me to diagnose, and then they go to other people and they get black magic done. And I have seen two of them that have this rope around their neck. And if I follow it a little bit, there's a person holding on to it, which I don't even bother checking who it is, but I know they work with different magicians, so they're being controlled. So Nancy Pelosi is being controlled by Adam Schiff, but he is such a yuck person. The rest of the images I'm not going to even go into, other than to tell you that he threatens her with doing something to her daughter. If he was not threatening her, a lot of the stuff that is still going on would not be going on. She does not have free will. And if somebody wants to take me to court for saying that, they're more than welcome to do it. I'll refer them to my handlers and the control. I actually do know where my handler is. And they can go ahead and tell them. They are the ones who facilitated these skills that can get you this information. So when you think, how is it that she's still there? Isn't she embarrassed? I mean, doesn't she realize? Yeah, she actually does. She doesn't have an option, the same way I didn't have an option. So when you think about the West Coast and everything that's going on over there, this Adam Schiff has a lot of power. And does he still have as much? That was an image this weekend. Was she in a really bad place this weekend? I think I saw her a couple of times on the news. She certainly looked totally out of it. But I have to tell you, you're not the same person. If you don't have people telling you that they're going to kill your kids, they're going to torture them, they're going to do this and that, you're not the same person. You can't function the same. And you're going to definitely do things you would not have done if that did not happen. So Trump, I know you're working very quickly. Move it along, please, because this is horrible to watch and to know. Who would she have been if Adam Schiff did not know how to do this? Now, I told my followers today, I really don't care if you think I'm arrogant. I really don't. I told them, today starts the golden age of the Mantrista movement. Why? Because the people that follow me are mainly from Latin America, Central America. What they have access to are curanderas and witches and shamans. It's mainly black magic. It's the only thing they had available. Okay, I think you shouldn't use it anyway if it's the only thing you have available. But it's so easy, that line between, please take care of my kid, he's sick, and do some magic. And then the next time your husband loses his job, you go and say, listen, my husband lost his job. We don't have food on the table. So it's that line of, it's okay and it's white magic if you do this. Once you cross the line, it's black magic. That line disappears for people. So today I became aware, and I was very happy about it, the fact that we are discovering so much and stuff that I cannot share with you on camera, but that everybody needs to know. And then it will be easier for this not to be done to us again. Because all of this stuff with the sex and the perversion, the whole trick is to hook your mind and to be able to get you to do things you wouldn't have done normally. And if we can get that all figured out, we're going to be free people, which we are not. Every, people are good people. When they start doing stuff, you have to ask, why would they do that? There's a movement in psychology to where they're asking that people not be labeled, that people be asked, what happened that this person is doing that? And that's what needs to happen now, having to do with people that have done god awful things, such as Nancy Pelosi, apparently, having to do with all this money and da 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 da. You have to ask, why would they do that? And maybe they didn't have an option. But you won't know those answers unless you understand the mind and you understand, which is what I said in therapy. I went to therapy in the 90s. And I'd say to the therapist, why do I know more about the mind than all of you I went to psychologists, all of you psychologists. How did that happen? I didn't study psychology. How is it that I know more than you know? And that's another thing that needs to be looked at. Who's limiting what the psychologists and psychiatrists are getting? Trump is opening up, supposedly, the insane asylums. Great. You're going to have an awful lot of people you're going to put in there. You don't even know what the mind is. You guys don't know what mental illness is. All of that is spiritual, which is the whole point of my movement becoming, we're going into our golden age. That doesn't mean we're going to take over anything. What we're doing is, because it's several thousand people, I'm able to say, look, a lot of people have this happen. It wasn't just 5 people. They get on a Zoom chat. And we've been together for a long time and we've discovered some incredible things. So we are in a very messy time now. This is particularly messy for me. So, gossip, my handler. I believe my handler is in a bed in his mother-in-law's home. He and his mother-in-law were very close, and I believe he's very sick. He may have STD, an STD, you call it, an STD, and he may have HIV. It makes it the guy would have sex with anything, didn't even have to be human. And I don't know that he's going to leave there. I think he's very, very, very sick, which is interesting because everything seems to be wrapping up now, which means that my situation with him would be wrapped up. And do we know who my new handler is? Am I going to have a new handler, Trump? I don't know. Being that there's so much that is other dimensional that we're not aware of. So find out where his mother-in-law lives, and in a room which looks like the maid's quarters because it's really small and very dreary looking. And I think that you may be able to find him and pick him up. Also, the people that tried to control my mind so that I get dumb as a rock or don't do what it is that I want to do now are no longer using like microwave weapons on me because it didn't seem to be working. Maybe it's not working because of the Mantrista music that we produced that has frequencies that correct what microwave does. I don't know. Now they're using different sounds, and it actually feels like it's coming from one of the apartments right next to me. That will get taken care of too. I have been feeling this for several weeks, but I thought maybe it was some of the electronics, some of the appliances in my kitchen that sometimes would make kind of a noise, but it doesn't start till after 10 or 11 at night. It lasts for a while, and it's different sounds. So it's kind of like a acoustic attack. It's not microwave. It's not the traditional stuff. So now you know where my handler is. I think that my handler is there. I think he's separated from his wife. They're still in constant communication. I think a lot of the money that he made that he was trying to hide, his mother-in-law would hide it for him. And I think that somebody should follow up on that. He is, if he's not at the level of Schiff nationally, then he's like a little bit under Schiff. This is not just about Francis Fox and taking care of Francis Fox. This is a lot of important people in Washington. I told you he had a two-story house in Washington, D.C. So it's 2 stories, basement, and attic. And it was full, only full of psychotronic weapons. Little machines that were trained on the different politicians and power players in Washington, D.C. He's not a little minion. He knows more about magic than anybody that I would have even suspected. But I think Adam Schiff does also. Where did Adam Schiff learn all of that? Track these people, track their histories, track the military bases they were on, track the people that worked underneath them. Not that hard. It's important. We do need to find out what it is that was done, because right now, from what I can see, everything is to go after the bad people. But a lot of the bad people were robots. So we need to spend more time on what it is that you can actually do to a human mind to turn people into robots and have them do things that is totally against human nature. For that, Trump, maybe Elon, I have the request again. I need to bring in several monks. One that is the guy that handles stuff, that speaks perfect English. I think he speaks Spanish too. He's great. He was the one who told me that after bringing in the monks 6 or 7 times for clients of mine, for me to do the sand mandalas for destiny and for protection. He was the one I kept telling him, Venezuela, we have to do something. Venezuela has black magic. This was several years ago. And finally, and he wouldn't say anything because the monks don't talk. So finally, the last morning, actually, probably the last time I saw him, he said to me, Francis, I have been listening to you. We are listening. I went, okay, what are you going to do? And he said, we're not the kind of monks you need. You need tantric monks. And I went, okay, well, send me the tantric monks. That's it. And they did. And they took care of the black magic in Venice. They took care of the black magic from an entire country. Now, when I said to Venezuelans, there's black magic in Venezuela, they all went, yeah, we know. They all knew, but they didn't know what to do about it. That's the kind of stuff that we are bringing to the table. But I need that man, that monk who said, wrong monks, let me have the right ones. His Rinpoche, who's the magician, and several other monks. And there needs to be the development of a program, of an understanding, of not studies, investigations having to do with the human mind and what you can do with it to put people on paths that they would have never have been on. How can you have that many? You go, no, the Democrats were all bad. No, that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. So the Democrats, too many of them did too many things. So who were they around? Well, there's a common factor, which is the intelligence community, which came out today in X all over the place with the people that they put out that were supposedly on the Epstein list. Why do they know all of that? And the universities don't, and the psychologists don't. You do remember. Who knows what I was going to say next? So, my gossip, my handler is still alive. I think he's very ill. I don't think he is getting cooperation from any of his group anymore, because I think that they are aware that the bails are lifted and that they have one foot in jail, if not both. But even them and even him, what happened to them? What happened to them? Now, a lot of people go south because they have a blow to their head. You guys call it a concussion. And you see boxers and you see them when they're older and they get these rage attacks and they change personalities and they go, they're okay, and then all of a sudden they become animals. It's not a it's You guys call it a concussion. It's a portal that is they're broken because of blows in their etheric body. Now, a lot of you people, I remember many years ago, a friend of mine was complaining about her son. He got lazy, he didn't care, he wasn't doing anything right. She was a perfectionist. And I went, "Well, what's going on?" She said, "I don't What's going on? He's lazy." I went, "You know what? Let me send him to me. That was when I used to actually think I had to see people to take care of stuff. I said, let me see. He played football. He got a blow in his head. And from that day forward, he wasn't interested in the girls. He wasn't interested in school. All he wanted to do was lay around and watch TV and eat junk food. And he was like a great student. He was kind of okay, I think, in football. And he was very obedient. Not once he had that concussion, which is a portal, which is an opening to the dimensions that lets the devil and all the other things in. So that stuff, I already know that. That's kind of easy. And I've told you how when I was in that group with three other mind control victims, we all remember when somebody, in my case, it was my father, tied a rope around my ankles and hung me over a building out of a window and swung me and kept hitting the back of my head. So it wasn't just the hitting of the back of the head. I had to be upside down. Can you imagine what that does to your mind? Ah, yeah, that makes the person more available. Insert programming. So this has to be studied. So Elon, Trump, both of you together, let's get these group of tantric monks in and let's start working on this because it's not that hard. I can guarantee you it's a lot cheaper than when somebody has cancer, because cancer is very expensive in this country. You can take care of it, by the way, with one mantra. The mantra for cancer is, even though I hate and there's nothing I can do, I love and accept myself. Even though I hate, there's nothing I can do, I love and accept myself. And I have an article on that on my website. My website's a mess, but you can imagine all the black magic that is done on everything that I touch so that you guys look at it and go, oh my God, why would she not take care of that? Okay, so interesting. Facebook today told me that I am not following their rules and that this particular ad, I can't run it. I am running workshops and classes having to do with your coccyx. Now, you give me a good explanation of why this would be against anybody's rules. Those are the gnomes. A lot of people have those outside their front door, especially in Latin America. And Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, that's a mind control program. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh my God. She falls asleep with an apple, which, by the way, is the central symbol of the mind control program. You fall asleep. Except there's another part of you that's awake and is following instructions. So Facebook says I can't run those ads. And I can't get to them for them to say, what is the matter with that ad? They don't want us to go investigate the coccyx, because that's the first part of us that's in the underworld. Now, I wonder where all that mind control program is done. Let me look at my notes. The whole thing with clones, that needs to be understood, but that can be understood easily. Once you understand that this presence you have on the physical dimension is only one part of you, okay? It's only one part of you. You have other energy bodies, and they are referred to in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. You've never seen it? Of course not, because if you saw the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, you would not be saying, protect me. You would be saying, please don't let me disassociate, which is what they do in mind control programs. They shock you, they scare you, they threaten you. You disassociate from your physical body, like if you have an accident and you go into shock, and then they start giving instructions. Got it? So the whole clone thing, for that, if you start giving this to universities, Trump, I'm really going to be, it doesn't make any sense. Because look at where we are now. They got us here. They can't take us to the other dimensions because they're not allowed. It's not ethical. I've told you about my friend who has several PhDs. She loves all this stuff. She can only look at it. She can talk about it privately, but she can only look, and not very much. She can only look at a distance with her mouth watering how interesting she wants to get there, but she can't get there because any one of her PhDs, the ethics committees of that particular association, they'll take her down. So bypass the universities. I'm not happy with what they've done with us anyway. But these studies have to be done, and I absolutely am volunteering to be part of that process. But I need to get those monks in here, not just for the protection and the purification that they can do, but also working with them and figure it out how to get them to communicate more. They have that information about the mind streams, but not for the public. Well, you know what? I'm going to beat it out of them if I have to. I'm going to use the Buddhist rosary and not self-flagellate, but beat them to a pulp. They're going to cooperate because I've been telling them to watch this chat, and I feel that they will step up to bat. We're not talking about the Dalai Lama because he can't do this because the people won't accept it. This has to be a group of tantric monks that are not famous, that are not well known, but know their magic. Tantric monks, what they teach you is they start everything with the premise that you are a god. So what's this behavior? Get with the program. You are a god, which is true. Superpowers, true. But we have not been allowed that. In the Bible, it says that. In all the religions, they tell you that. But why haven't we gotten there? Because people don't want us to get there. They want to keep us under control. So can I please have help? We would need visas. We'd need plane tickets. And we'll figure out where they can live, because not the Rinpoche or the other guy, but the rest of the monks, there don't have to be that many of them. They bring their own sleeping bags. They're really great. And they cook. Wow. Indian food, they're really good. They're really good cooks. And they're a lot of fun. They have a really great sense of humor. We got to ask them about the whole sex thing, because they don't have sex with a partner, but they have so much joy. So obviously that energy center is stimulating and is healed. We got to ask them about that. But we'll ask them about that a little bit further in tantric sex. You don't need to find out about tantric sex. They don't need to teach that. No, 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 no. We're not going there. But how do they keep themselves healthy if they don't have a partner? And these are the only people, Buddhism is the only group, and they're not a religion, it's a philosophy. They're the only group that have all their prayers, they include taking into consideration off planet beings. Do you know of any other group that does that? No, they do. And it's a natural thing. Trump, Elon, I need for that to happen. We need for that to happen. Our kids, I haven't had that problem, but a lot of people have a kid that goes crazy. What do you do about that? You know what? Give up, because the people that are going to take care of them are going to medicate them, which shuts down their consciousness. You need for them to be totally awake, because mind control has to do with putting a part of you to sleep. So this medication thing doesn't work. Common factor in all the mass murders, psych drugs. How long did it take you guys to figure that out? That's mind control, because you're not dumb. Okay. Clones and DNA. Supposedly I have I come from a special lineage. And supposedly they're taking, that's why I was programmed to be born. It's kind of hard for me to get into this because it gets really scary. But the implications, and this, I'm 77, 78. I think I'm 78. That was a long time ago. What have they perfected since then? Airline tickets, please. Um, I have a note here and I don't understand it. But it says we're going to need more popcorn. I wasn't the one who came up with it. That's a lot on X when the whole thing with the um, Epstein list. I'm going to say two things about what appeared to be the Epstein list this morning when they had a listing and they had the man that did the music, the movie Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a pretty scary movie. And I have found through the years that when I get nervous, I want to see Jurassic Park. I never go and I think only once I went ahead and looked for it and watched a little bit of it. But I always wondered why, if it's not my favorite movie, why would I want to see Jurassic Park if I'm not feeling very centered? And then the man's name is on this list, or so that's what came up today. I'm not saying he is. What I'm saying is something weird about that. Even the movie that he made, that's the little kids that they go to this house and there's some bad guys there, and it's a cute movie. It's almost like too good. It's almost like AI. It's like a candy. There's a quality there that's not quite natural. It's nice, but there's something there. And then I want to say something about Taylor Swift, who's not on that list. But it is interesting to me that too many people have said that they don't remember her concerts. They go and they don't remember. Well, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. Because that's the whole thing with mind control. I don't remember doing that. Now, is she aware? Is she doing that purposefully? I don't know. But definitely that should be looked into because that's not natural. The same way it's not natural to put a kid in front of a Disney movie and have them be willing to watch that movie 50, 100, 150 times. When I was young, if there was a new movie, or even, well, we don't go to movies because we see them all at home. But when there were movies, especially when I was younger, somebody would go, hey, we got to group together. We're going to go to the movie. What movie? This movie. Oh, I already saw it. Oh, okay. Well, the next time. There was no thought of, come on, you can see it again. No, you saw the movie. That's it. You saw the movie. Why can the kids sit in front of a Disney movie and see it that many times? Hundreds of times. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. And all the movies start with them killing off the mother. Well, how do you do mind control? I'm not saying that Disney is doing this on purpose. And they've been taken to court about these movies anyway, because people say there's a second movie with perverted sex in them. I never said that. And I don't know how those lawsuits ended. I suspect they were settled out of court. I have no idea. But if you're going to do mind control, you have to put somebody in a state of shock. Part of their consciousness leaves. You got an empty space. You fill it in with the spirit, with instruction, da, 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 da. How do all the movies for children from Disney, they kill off the mother? What is the worst thing that you can do to a child? Deprive them of their mother. And then the movie continues. Look, the kid made it. Why haven't we seen all of this? Because everybody's mind control, because they figured out how to mind control many, 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 many people at one time. And that's not quite so difficult because I am giving events now that people pay for. And I am healing them. And they are paying for other people that don't even show up at the event online. And my intention is that the healing I'm giving go to everybody who paid for the healing, even if they're not present and they don't even know the healing's going towards him. So let me give you, where did I get that from? I went to a trans personal psychology convention in Brazil. Stanislas Graf was the guy who ran it. He and I got into a bit of an argument. Um, and the Saturday night, they had the major speaker was somebody from India. He gave a speech. I was zoning in and out because I'm an anxious person. And he said at the end, I'm going to give each and every one of you a healing. And I went, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. This was in the 90s. Of course, he's going to give each and every one of us a healing. And he said, close your eyes. And so I closed my eyes for like a second and a half because I'm an anxious person. I'm not going to be in a room full of people. I was already up against the wall. Everybody worked in intelligence. They are not in the middle of a room. They're up against the wall. They got something. And I opened my eyes. And next to every person, there were 500 people, maybe 450, maybe 525 people, 500 people in the room. And next to each and every one of them was a spirit of his, the exact same spirit, but duplicated 500 times. And everybody got a healing. When I saw that, because I saw it, somebody tells me that, I'm not going to believe them. I saw it and I went, I want to do that. And I'm doing that now. So if I can do that now, there's got to be other people that can be trained to do that. So it's not like it's a one-on-one, like when you go to the psychiatrist and the psychologist, which is why I want those tantric monks in. I want them in. They also have initiation ceremonies that they give, which do not include drawing blood or doing all sorts of things. You just sit there and it's a visualization of a Buddha with particular attributes, and then they do their prayers and they initiate you into another frequency. This country needs to be initiated into another frequency. Basically, we need to get this mind control stuff gone. Because the truth of the matter is, people in the United States are good people. The whole world, they're good people. But man, did we get off track. So I need to bring in several months, minimum of 2, but really there should be others to assist in those. I forgot the name. Initiations, they call them. And I would use more modern language. I've told them, said the language that you use is just doesn't make the translations just like the Lord's Prayer. Even though they're not distorted, the Buddhist translations into English, they're not comfortable and they don't express. All they have to do is say, visualization is how reality, you start to create reality. Visualize the Buddha with these attributes that you want. They don't say that. They don't use the word visualization. They make it very symbolic. We need to get it more grounded. By the way, that's what I bring to the table. The mechanical aspect of this other dimensional stuff, metaphysics. We got to get there quick. And I think we can do it. But I need help. And I need this particular group of people because they've been there, they've done that. It's thousands of years of information that they have held. And we need to get it put together with the stuff that I have learned. And then we need to teach everybody white magic, which is basically changing reality without actually having to move stuff. And it's neat. And the kids are totally into that. Look at all the movies, the TV shows, the superpowers. All of that is available to human beings today. And that's what the bad guys don't want for us. Okay? I feel a lot better. I do. I got a plan. I got a plan. I need help, but I got a plan. When I do stuff, everybody's different. That business that's still available, it's still up and running and doing very well. 55 years. Very good foundation, but I ran it very mom and pop because that's kind of like who I am, Cancer, astrologically. So we need somebody that's not so mom and pop as me to kind of get this at a bigger, and we need Elon to get those frequencies in the air. Can we send it out through the satellites? If you can send Wi-Fi through the satellites, which is microwave, Why can't we get the frequencies? I want, by the way, now I want the frequency for the gemstone called emerald, because these off-planet beings do not like emeralds. We're also all supposed to have emerald earrings on. I lost one and then I put the other one away, and I've been blocked from getting them back. I just need to buy myself some cheap emerald ear studs. There's a lot of stuff that we can do. Okay? And all pointing in the same direction of moving into the golden age and getting past whatever forces people, whatever, that has put a block so that we don't get there successfully. Okay, that's it. I feel better. I hope you do too. Let's do, I have something now. I have the event that Facebook doesn't want me to advertise. I'm going to put that up again because somebody said, well, he's holding a hatchet in his hand. This is an elf, a working elf. Why would they tell me that I can't use this, that goes against their policies? So let's go ahead and do a mantra. Let's do the fear mantra. Too much going on. And we're going to do the purification, which is a vacuum cleaner type mantra. So the mantra is, hold on. Even though I'm afraid, maybe that's me. And I will get some grounding music. Okay, so go ahead, 5 minutes. You repeat it in silence. You expel the breath through your mouth. No, let's go to the subconscious. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, we finished. Thank you. And please share. I'm not going to get any numbers. I would like to do an experiment one day and have everybody put a comment on YouTube, whichever the YouTubes that you're watching, and watch the comments disappear. They don't want you guys to have this information. Mm-mm-mm.